Hi, my name is Christina. I'm working for Tech Alliance in the business unit TecCom, and as responsible sales and partner manager, I'm taking care about the cooperation with Aktivbank. And today we have the pleasure to be in their offices in Frankfurt and get a very nice interview with Mr. Neubauer. So come with me and let's see. So today we have the pleasure to be at Aktivbank AG here in your very nice offices in Frankfurt. We will get an interview with you, Mr. Neubauer. So thank you for having us here today.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Perfect. So the cooperation between Aktivbank and Tech Alliance already exists since many years, so since 2016 to be more exact. And so today what we want to do is to give also our audience, our listeners, a deeper look into the scope of the cooperation. So what we are doing together, which products we are dealing, which groups or which companies are integrated in this process. So this is the aim for today, to also give a little bit more insights about this cooperation. But first of all, could you please give us a short introduction about yourself?
Yes. My name is Ingo Neubauer. I'm working for Aktivbank since 2015 and in the EDI branch and the IT of Aktivbank since 2016. My scope is just the onboarding and the building of processes for new suppliers of invoices in all different formats, in all different corporations. And therefore I'm here today and to give you more insights on the cooperation with Tech Alliance.
Perfect. So thank you for this introduction. And so to talk a little bit more about Aktivbank, because it's not a normal bank, so it's a special bank. And so to also let the audience know what Aktivbank is exactly doing. So what is so special in your products or in your scope?
Okay, the most special thing about Aktivbank is if you go out on the street and ask some random people, that nobody would know us except they're doing business with us, because we do not make just the regular banking business like opening accounts for the private or for the business sector. So we're very specialized, just two branches we're dealing with. One is the factoring, but the main branch of Aktivbank is central settlement. Where Aktivbank is a service provider for many buying groups and processing their invoices and doing all the payments from the buyers to the suppliers, kind of a clearing company. So we deal with many invoices in all different formats from all different branches you can imagine.
Okay.
So that's kind of an that's a very interesting, and no invoice, no branch is the same.
And in which countries you're acting in?
It's a bit different from most of the buyers are in Germany, within the central settlement, but the suppliers, they are from all over the world. For example, the automotive sector, we do have suppliers from Europe, from overseas, from China, from almost everywhere in the world, because there are many differences regarding the tax laws and just the language barriers we have to some countries. There are many suppliers from abroad, but all the customers we deliver the invoices to, the main part of them, they are all in Germany. We do have some in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Austria. But I think, if I'm right, that's it. So
yeah, okay. And about Aktivbank, so how many employees you are?
Right now we are about 135 employees, with two offices, one here in Frankfurt and the other in Pforzheim. I think there are about 30 to 35 people in Pforzheim, and the rest is here in Frankfurt. the whole factoring business is only in Frankfurt,
Okay.
and for the central settlement we do this in both offices in Frankfurt and in Pforzheim.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for this introduction. And to pick up this central settlement or central regulation, because this is also a keyword in our corporation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So could you explain a little bit more how this construct works? So because there are a few groups or a few components inside of this construct or of this process.
Yes.
To explain what about the suppliers? So where are you in this process? Where are we as TecCom e-Invoicing? And where are the buyers or the buying groups? So to explain this a little bit in detail.
Yes. Okay. I'll try to explain it. It's a bit complicated.
Yeah.
Our customers, they are mainly buying groups. So our key customer for each branch and is a buying group, and they do have contracts with suppliers and they have contracts with buyers. We have special names for them. We call the suppliers are called Vertragslieferanten. And I think there's no translation for that word. And
quite hard.
in our weekly meetings, we just use the terms. And there are Anschlusshäuser, which are the buyers, and we are kind of the company in the middle. We're a service provider for the buying groups. So the all suppliers they supply the invoices directly to us. And we just hand them over. We don't hand them over physically, or we don't forward the invoices to the Anschlusshäuser, but we put them into a web portal where they can be downloaded and they can be reviewed, they can be corrected, and that's why we do have a connection also to Tech Alliance, because our one of our scopes of the buying groups is the automotive aftermarket, and so we have to accept the common invoicing formats of the branches, and in the automotive aftermarket there's Tech Alliance is one big player for the e-invoicing for us, and so the logical consequence was to set up a connection. I think the most interesting part is that by contract we are allowed to receive the invoices in the name of the buyers. So there's a contract saying that they allow us to receive the invoices instead of themselves, and we do process them in our system. And the advantage for the supplier is they do not get they don't have to send invoices to too many receivers. They just send the invoices to Aktivbank, and they will be paid in one sum with an electronic payment advice. So they don't have to look after each and every single invoice. They're paid in one big amount, and they get an advice for it. So they can just match it to the invoices they issued. And usually it's also the case that the liability for the invoice is guaranteed by Aktivbank. So the risk for the supplier is minimized, the risk of loss of invoices. And they do not need us insurance for all the invoices which are issued via Aktivbank, because the liability is guaranteed by us.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So this means that from the electronical invoice sending from the buyer over our e-invoicing structured e-invoicing format 2.5, XML 2.5, over the providing of the invoice data over your web portal towards the buyers or the buying groups, and also the payment is all digitalized. So it means the whole process is electronically covered. So there's no more need for manual handling, let's say.
No, actually not. Of course, there are some customers who just like to stick to the paper invoices. But what we do not provide paper invoices. I know some of them, they do print them out and just check the invoices on the print. But yeah, that's I think that's not there's a progress in the other direction. The future is electronic invoicing with a fully digitalized process, and no breaks in the media. So that's always a problem if you're trying to print to put a paper invoice into your electronic invoicing system as a customer. So yes, our target is to have as many electronic invoices as possible, because the benefit for both sides, they're huge.
Yeah, of course. So talking about the benefits, which benefits do you see for the supplier side in this case?
I think one of the biggest advantages is standardized invoicing. They're using a platform they used to use for all other customers, and in the past, when we look at the time before 2016, where we started the electronic invoicing for the original documents, they had to send paper invoices, and that's for some even a problem, because they are not in Germany. The time the mail takes is too long. We do have some very hard and contracted deadlines for invoices, so it's easier to meet these regulations when you just transfer it electronically and don't have to send it by mail. Yes, I think that's one of the main advantages. You don't have to run a secondary process by printing it and sending it out. And it's also interesting for the suppliers, because the customers, they demand the information. When we process paper invoices, we just process the header and the footer. So all position information is lost and has to be typed from the paper manually. And with the electronic invoicing, we do have all position data, all details of the invoice from the beginning to the end, and that's the future. And
it's of course, and it's very useful. And also with PDF, with the PDF invoices, which comes via email, that's the same, right? So you only extract the header and the footer, and not the position data. So it means when this comes over in direct electronically way, in a structured format, let's say, then all the needed data is in. So and it's displayed in your portal.
It's displayed and it's transferred to the customers in a standardized format, and they can just import it in their systems and check the order against the delivery, against the invoice. And in an ideal world, they do not have to look at it anymore, because the matching, if all the numbers are right, the matching will just work automatically, and that's a huge amount of time, and so it's a huge amount of money you can save by just processing the invoices all digital.
Yeah, of course. So, and this means if the supplier has already this TecCom e-Invoicing connection, it's just a small extra configuration to also connect the invoices, which should go directly to Aktivbank. So for the distributors, from the distributor, or for the buying groups, which should go directly to Aktivbank. So.
Yes, it's a small adaptation. I think it's very quick. We just need some additional numbers from the standard, just to make the identification of the seller party and the buyer party and the right corporation, and that's it. So that's an easy setup, and we have done it. We've done many of them. In the last 6 years. I don't have the numbers of the total suppliers we've onboarded, but we've already processed about 1 million TXML invoices in our system. And these are only the invoices there are no test invoices included, just real invoices which were processed, paid, and everything else. So we're just about at 1 million invoices, and I think that's a nice figure and quite impressive. In such a short time.
Of course, since the cooperation started, then starting with one supplier and onboarding it for several buying groups, and then going step by step and connecting more and more suppliers.
Yeah, and with the time, I think we learned from each other. We had to learn what is important for Tech Alliance. What do you have to know to do the setup, to go out to the suppliers and put in the right fields in the right place. Of course, there were some issues at the beginning, but they're all sorted out. We're just talking on a regular basis every week, and it's kind of I think both sides now know absolutely what to do when a new supplier comes up, and it's a smooth process, and
good working together, I would say.
Yes, very good.
Yeah. Perfect. So before we talked about the benefits for the suppliers, which benefits do you see on the other hand for the buyers or for the buying groups?
Yeah, for the buyers themselves, it's technology. They can implement automatic invoice checking and processing processes on their systems. They can just match the orders to the invoice, to the shipment advice. I think there's much time saved. They can use the time for many other things to give support to their customers. They do in a lot of time. I think it's also easier for them if they all invoices look the same. That's what we do. We do a visualized document of every electronic invoice we receive, and no matter from which supplier the invoice is coming, they all look the same. So for the buyer, it's easy to check an invoice because no matter from which suppliers it's coming, the layout is all the same. And if they use the electronic output we give, not the visual output, the structure is always the same. So it's easy to implement an automated process, much easier than trying to scan paper invoices and make some OCR detection of all the positions. It's possible, but it's expensive and it's faulty, often faulty. There are many manual processes you have to do. So the benefit for the buyer is definitely the data is in a standardized form. Yeah, and they can process them easily. We do on a regular basis. We talk to the buying groups and talk about possibilities for the automated processing of invoices. Usually there are service providers involved, just the software producers, and it's interesting and it's growing. And I think the paper invoice. Those who print out the paper, they're decreasing. They're decreasing.
So it's a cost saving, it's time saving, less errors, also more digitalization. This is also a very big topic. Yes. Digitalization, and also the paper waste, let's say, so which would disappear or which would decrease. Also in regards to the sustainability. So this is also an important factor.
Yes, but right now it's we still receive paper invoices, but we do not forward the paper to anyone. They are also digitalized, but the paper was there, but we never see it. So it's still there, and
But this over the years, so we already recognize a decrease in the paper invoice and the increase in the digitalization. So I think this will go further.
And you ask for the advantages for the buying groups. I think one of the biggest advantages getting all the position data on invoices is statistics. I think this is very important for the buying groups to know exactly which products are doing well on the market and which aren't doing so well, so they can put the focus to the suppliers which are providing the products which the market demands. I think this is one of the interesting parts for the buying groups.
This sounds very, very useful also for them.
Yeah, it is.
And they can extract it also from your Web 2.0 portal, right?
Actually, there is a possibility, but it's not used on a wide base right now. But we are able to provide position-based statistics, and if it's demanded, we can give it to the corporations. But not via the portal. So that's a different way, a direct way we do in contact with the buying groups.
Okay. And just to come back to this general procedure of how the central regulation works. So there are also two processes, right? The OBV and the KBV, so for original and copy procedure. So and you cover both, right? Our corporation.
Our corporation covers both. That's one thing we developed together. We started with the original invoices, and we just opened another with a project. We also rolled it out for the copy invoices. So yes, we're covering both of them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just interesting just to show up on a small example what the difference is on the original invoicing process. Like the name is saying, we do receive the original invoice. So it's the original invoice from the supplier. It's the original invoice for the tax. So it has to follow some regulations from the tax laws. And there's no invoice sent to the customer anymore. So there's just this one invoice that's sent to us, and we process it, and we just hand it over to the buyer via our web portal. And with the copy invoicing process, it's a bit different. There's an invoicing negotiated between the buyer and the supplier directly. So we don't know in which form the invoice is issued, but this invoice is the original invoice sent directly from the supplier to the customer, and we just receive a copy to do the payment clearing. So there's and there we do not process any position information because it's not needed. We just get the header and the footer. Even if we get the information in the TXML invoice because it's the standard TXML 2.5. We do get the position information, but we do not process them because it's not the original invoice. The original is sent from the supplier to the buyer directly. In a form we don't even know. We don't have to know. We just receive a copy and that's all we need in the copy invoice process. But most of the corporations are using the original invoicing process. And there we do know there's only one invoice. It's sent to us, and we receive it for the customer, for the Anschlusshaus, and we process it and just put it on our web portal.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you also for this explanation. I think it's very useful also for the audience to understand it a little bit better, because the process is complex, let's say. So it's not so easy.
No, it's not. It's not. Maybe that's the reason why it took a kind of a long time to set up the electronic invoicing for the original invoicing process. But now it's working since 2016. And it's growing. That's
a good direction.
Yes.
Okay, so and last but not least, and also to not steal you more time, so we wanted to know about your experience with the corporation. So how was the journey until now? Are you satisfied with the corporation? And just to know your opinion.
Yes, we are satisfied. Our customers, all the buying groups, and also the suppliers, they're satisfied, and that's one of our goals. We have our customers. They need to be happy. They need to be happy with the solutions we provide, and they are. So that's a big point. Personally, of course, it has been a long way to where we are now. 6 years sounds like a short period of time, but I think we've managed many things in 6 years. Of course, it was it was difficult in the beginning. So it was all new for us. It was partly what it was new for Tech Alliance as well. So there was a big progress. I think we made a great progress, and I think I stated it before. Now both sides know what the other side needs to process an invoice. That was a long process. Of course it was, but I think within the first 2 years. We had to. I think that was a time we learned the most. From the first pilot supplier to now, we have to look the numbers up. How many suppliers we have right now? We're just happy with the cooperation. I think we together that's a big benefit we brought out to the suppliers by making the TXML invoicing possible for the Aktivbank customers. And I think we see new things almost every month. New suppliers, we just new topics. In the beginning, we never thought about doing the copy invoicing process via TXML. It was not even there. The idea just grew in our cooperation, and it was a very short project. I think we just managed to roll it out within half a year, and I think that's another point that shows how the cooperation is working. So we needed new contracts. We just needed new connections, new mappings on our side, and this was all done in half a year. And now we're happy. We just made another technical change. Nobody recognized. Nobody even knows we made the change. We just changed. I think some month ago we changed from the Tom Connect transmission of the invoices to the web service based transmission, and nobody recognized the change. So that's always good if you do a change and nobody knows and everything is still just working in the same way as it did before. I think that's a success. And same thing with the copy invoice process. I think this was the biggest hurdle we had to take in the cooperation, but we did never think about it in the beginning.
Of course. So at the beginning it was about to create a framework, how the cooperation could work, how we could involve the market participants. Also together with my colleague Mr. Tiber, she was already sometimes here at your office in Frankfurt, right?
Yes, he was in Frankfurt. I think he was in Pforzheim. We even were at some of with the buying groups. We had appointments at the buying group. We had appointments at a large customer of one buying group. So yes, Mr. Tibersch I think he was here in almost twice, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. We just met and. Yes.
And it's a process, of course. So developing a process, and now it's a fluent process.
Yes, it is.
So perfect. Thank you for this interview, for the insights you gave us. Also from our side, it's a very fruitful and a very confidence-based cooperation with regular meetings, regular talks. So we're also very happy with this cooperation, and so. Thank you again for your time today.
Yes, thank you for being our guest, and maybe we can do another interview in 5 years and see if we have 2 million invoices we can celebrate, or maybe even more.
Perfect. Let's put it on our agenda.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
you